this world. Some of this may be true, some will remain fiction. One thing is clear, sand has always been here. Through these endless dunes, under the scorching Arab sun during the day, and on a starry but quiet night, caravans walked. They walked for centuries. While the caravans were going through the desert, an ancient legend was coming true. Hundreds of daughters of the moon, the stars, began to light up and fall into the cold sea. They fell deep to the bottom and hid in ancient shells, hid from the human eye, and these stars were called pearls. At first, no one noticed them. But one day, the first person, captivated by curiosity, decided to try the depths and find out what was shining at the bottom, and took out the first pearl. The rumor of shining stars at the bottom of the sea rolled far beyond the desert, and the man was followed by other brave men who began to dive to the seabed. They conquered the depths of the sea one by one and took out the pearls that were waiting for all the daredevils. Along with pearls, people brought trade to the desert, and with trade they brought gold, jewelry, sweets, aromas. The desert became a prosperous land and the main trading center of the Middle East. The deserts decided to thank people, and in 1958 gave them a jewel from the bowels of the earth. A treasure which changed existence and gave new life, new breath, new history to people. The treasure which is called oil. Spilled this treasure for many and many kilometers around, to the tribes in the east and to the nomads in the west, from north to south. Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Dubai, Al Kaiwan, Fujairah and Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah. The Emirates began to flourish and develop, but the rumor about the black gold of the Emirates leaked on many kilometers, and other states wanted to own this treasure. But at one point, the Emirates realized that only by uniting into one great state, they could protect each other and the desert. Then 7 Emirates united into a state, which became an example for everyone as a symbol of strength, power, and love for each other. December 2nd, 1971, the great dream came true. The vision of the founding father came true. The creation of a country and a nation which for 5 decades has shown unprecedented development and amazed the whole world. And the father of the nation, Zayed ibn Sultan Al Nahyan, illuminated this path. UAE begins. On December 2nd, 1971, the UAE Constitution was adopted by the 6 Emirates. On February 1st, 1972, the 7th Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah joins the UAE. The mission of Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan was fulfilled, and the founding father of the UAE enjoyed his brainchild. Sheikh Zayed was a great, worthy man. He became a father for all the Emirates and for all of us. Others said the following about him. He was a man who earned the respect, admiration, and loyalty of the Bedouin living in the deserts around Buraimi. He was the most influential figure in the Treaty States.
No?
On 18th of May 1973, the national currency UAE, the dirham would replace the riyal of Qatar and Dubai when the Bahraini dinar was approved. There was so much news in the UAE that in 1977, the Dubai 33 TV channel began broadcasting. The very first daily English language newspaper, the Khalij Times, began publication on April 16, 1978. It is the longest running English daily newspaper in the UAE. Whereas in 1978, rival Gulf News began publishing. The second decade of the UAE's development began. One of the most important achievements is the creation of Emirates Airlines in 1985, one of the world's largest airlines. third decade, the UAE became noticeable to other countries, and all countries of the world began to respect and reckon with the UAE. In 1991, the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge International Rally was held. A raid race held in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi from the United Arab Emirates since the 1991 World Championship, and organized by the Automobile and Tourism Club of the United Arab Emirates. In 1996, for example, the shopping festival was held here, organized by the authorities and the Association of Chambers of Commerce of the Emirate. It was the largest commercial fair in the Middle East, attended by up to 1.5 million guests from Europe, Asia, and Africa. The largest number of equestrian sports fans was able to gather in the framework of the 1998 World Equestrian Games. 162 riders from 37 countries took part in the championship. The famous Burj Al Arab Tower Hotel, located in Dubai, was listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the tallest hotel in the world, 321 meters. In 2001, the construction of the first world-famous artificial island, Palm Jumeirah, began. In January 2006, Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum became the ruler of Dubai and Vice President of the UAE. Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum carried out many reforms in the police, in business. Thanks to him, the companies and enterprises of the UAE became the greatest companies in the world. Under his ruling, Dubai and the UAE began to grow rich. He is the great leader of the UAE and Dubai. As Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum said himself, the purpose of government is to serve the people. The purpose of government work is to serve the community. And the purpose of laws and regulations is to serve the people. The Dubai Mall opening ceremony was on November 4th, 2008. The subway opened on September 9th, 2009 at 9 o'clock, 9 minutes and 9 seconds. The subway is fully automated. The longest subway line in the world started operating in September 2009 in Dubai. The tallest building in the world was constructed. The opening ceremony took place on January 4th, 2010. Formula One Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi in 2009, Abu Dhabi police unveiled The largest frame in the world was created in 2018. A man-made miracle appeared in Dubai's Al Qudra Desert. This is a romantic place in the form of two intertwined hearts. Lakes in the shape of two hearts can be found on Google Maps. You can also see this stunning creation of human hands, an artificial lake which takes the form of two giant hearts from a bird's eye view. The UAE has become the leading country in the Middle East and North Africa region in terms of the number of entries in the Guinness Book of Records. The deepest pool in the world, Deep Dive Dubai, was opened in 2021, reaching a depth of 60 meters. On September 25th, 2019, Hassan al-Mansouri became the first UAE citizen to travel into space aboard the Russian Soyuz MS-15 spacecraft. The United Arab Emirates became the first Arab state to send a space probe to Mars. It happened on July 20th, 2021. The UAE's space programs are part of their vision for the future. According to Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum, the future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. It isn't something you await, but rather create. Very soon, a unique Museum of the Future will open in Dubai, which will embody the desire of the ruler of Dubai to create a center in which the future will be created in front of visitors, and everyone will be able to touch it. This creative hub will be a place for research and new development for a better future. Of the upcoming events, the whole world is waiting for October 2021 and the opening of Expo 2020. This is the largest event in the history of the Arab world, which will be attended by 192 countries, as well as commercial enterprises, international organizations, and educational